Hello and welcome to the ASDRP Researcher Interview Series. Tonight I'll be talking with Arfath Chowdhury. Thank you so much for joining me. How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing good. Thank you for having me.
To get started, will you tell me a little bit about yourself? So what high school you go to, any hobbies you have, and how you found out about ASDRP?
Okay, great. So, yeah, I'm Arfath. I'm here at Bard High School Early College, and I'm located in New York. A few things about me is that I'm really interested in scientific research, but at the same time, I'm also have heavy ties to activism and public policy. So I really want to be able to, in the future, find the sort of intersectionalities with this. And it's also one reason why I really like neuroscience, the ability to not only conceptualize the physical aspects of the brain, but also understand that with the development and evolution of people and how they think and how that influences our decisions. So I found out about ASDRP through a lot of online research. I was already part of a lot of research communities and a lot of opportunities like opportunity newsletters that had different opportunities for research. And I was in previous research groups in New York for summer internships, but I really wanted to sort of expand my research beyond New York and take part in just a part of some national research. And when I learned about ASDRP, I was really excited to just be able to join this program and work under Dr. Jahanikia.
That's awesome. That's so great you're joining us all the way from New York. So are you researching remotely?
Yes, doing computational research. Yeah.
Very cool. In the past, what did you work on researching?
Um, Before ASDRP or okay. Yeah. So before ASDRP, I did research for the New York City Medical Forum. It was basically where around 6 interns were chosen out of a huge of NYC students across NYC. Presenting research projects based on something we were interested in. So my research project was based on the analysis of PTSD and traumatic brain injury of war veterans. So basically, I would look at a lot of analytics and read a lot of scholarly articles and scientific research papers that were based around these studies of post-traumatic stress disorder and just trying to expand the idea of PTSD as more than just a mental illness, but also something that's physically changing the physical brain as a part of neuroplasticity.
Wow, what a fascinating project. And I can totally see how activism would tie in to working with that. What project are you working on right now at ASDRP?
So I work in Dr. Sahar Jahanikia's NeuroLab, where we're doing the EEG study on synaptic yoga. And basically, the study is about how EEG can, which is electro and encephalography, is a long word, but it's about how EEG can reveal a lot of the effects of meditation practices on brain activity. So we're given a data set which has around over 90 participants, each with 4 tasks in it. So it's around 300 different files to analyze. But we're sort of looking at the brain activity as it's being responded to different meditation and thinking tasks.
That's very cool. How have you felt? Do you feel like your past research experience has allowed you to just jump right in here at ASDRP, or has there been a learning curve still?
I definitely feel like there has been a learning curve because the prior research that I would do, well, a lot of it was remote. It wasn't using as of right now, I'm learning a new technological source, which is MATLAB, and how to use that to analyze different BDF and JSON files. So it's a lot of more what I really like about this is that it's challenging me to use a lot of more digital technology instead, which is not something that I was always used to, because I was more used to, studies where I would get to like physically interact with patients, like in an independent study I did in my high school where I looked at the differences between like race and gender in an adolescent population and how that affects their medical experiences in healthcare. It was more of doing like more surveys and interviews of people. So it was a lot of interacting with their experiences directly. So doing this computational research, it definitely like expands my research a bit, but it's also definitely something that I'm looking forward to. And yeah,
That's great. So you're really getting a chance to develop both sides of that skill set.
right.
Does it help when you analyze the data to kind of understand the other side, like what was maybe going through the researchers' heads as they collected the data that you're working with?
Oh yeah, absolutely. One of the things that we're looking at right now in our EEG study is going through ICA, which is independent component analysis. So basically, when you have a lot of this brain activity data, running ICA is a way to reject a bunch of bad channels and reject bad data. And when at first you think of bad data, you might not know what that means, but like looking at bad data, you realize that's like when a participant might be, blinking too fast or might be an EEG is a physical headset that's put on like different parts of the scalp to measure brain activity, and you realize that bad data just references to a lot of like mistakes that's being done in the process of the actual physical study. So you're realizing a lot of errors that you're trying to fix in computational research is a result of the physical research that was done.
Totally, that makes a lot of sense. So what is your favorite part about the project so far?
My favorite part about the project, I would definitely say getting the opportunity to just work under like it's such an intensive program. I think the research that I was doing before, it was less time constrained. So I basically had a lot of like flexibility to do this. I feel like definitely since I live in New York, I've learned that research never sleeps, and it's definitely not sleeping at ASDRP because we have the weekly colloquia meetings at 7 p.m. So that's like at 10 p.m. for me. And when we were doing like the virtual expo and the Blitz talks, that was like from I believe like 7 to 9. So that was like 10 to 12 p.m. from we still show up every day because we love what we're doing. And I love being able to work with my EEG team because I know that a lot of them are also high schoolers, and when I'm confused about something or they're confused about something, it's sort of a shared experience for us. Because, well, even though we're confused as high school students, we all are really passionate about this and we're all really curious about this. So we know we're going to get through it and we know we're going to continue researching.
That's such an awesome perspective to have. And it's great that you're able to make it to all the meetings and all of the presentations, even with the time difference. That
Yeah.
definitely displays a lot of dedication. So props to you for doing that. So I'm curious, like when you sit down at your computer to start doing research, walk me through what everything that you do. Like what kind of programs do you open? Do you start reading an article? What's like a day in the life of you as a researcher?
Okay, day in life of me as a researcher. Okay, so I would say right when I get home from on a regular weekday, I would say our usual meetings are Thursdays. Thursdays is our meetings with Dr. Jahanikia herself, and that's so we would meet with the PI and we would show her all the work and progress we've done in the previous week. But before that happens, our work probably starts in the weekend where we would have a team meeting to go over any information and to go over all the things we've done. So that means I would log into MATLAB, which is basically a programming software where you can use like EEG to analyze like PDF, JSON files, look at 3D and 2D component property maps of the brain. So I would open up MATLAB and to the EEG studies, and I would get to collect like a lot of the signals from the different like, spatial locations on the scalp. So I would see a lot of and model a lot of human brain functioning. Um, and then as well, what I would do after that is because some of our data doesn't save, I always have to pre-process the data, which means resampling it. So this data, of course, might have, when you load these data sets into the EEG website or the EEG portion of MATLAB, it takes you to graphs of like, 1,026 samples. So it's like hard to interpret graphs. So like when you pre-process it, you're aiming to make it more concise and easier to read. So we always start off with doing that. We also started off with analyzing one subject at a time and then breaking off the 4 tasks. So since this study is specifically about meditation and the direct effects of meditation and how that benefits like cognition and perception, a lot of these subjects have like a lot of subtasks. So like, let's say for the 98th subject that we're looking at now, there's like around 4 files dedicated to that. There's a meditation file, there's a second meditation file, and then there's also the thinking file, which is like their processing and their emotional processing and cognition. So we would analyze all of those. And we also use OpenNeuro, which is like where we get our data from. So we didn't collect the physical data, but we analyzed the data through MATLAB. Right, I just talked a lot about the digital aspects of it, but when you take so much time to like learn a lot about these new processes, it really like sticks to you. But yeah, but as I was saying, in the weekend we would probably set a schedule. I think one of a challenge for me for research is definitely like finding a time that works for everyone. But I think we all, of course, we want to make sure that we can all meet at a time that works best for everyone. And we always prioritize this above like all our other activities. So we make sure that we can meet throughout the week. So, on Saturday or Sunday, that could be anywhere from a 1 to 2 hour meeting, just making sure everyone is on the same page of pre-processing and being on the same page of analyzing the data. Then like maybe 2 days later, like let's say Tuesday or Wednesday, we would have another meeting where we prepare what we're going to show for our progress to Dr. Sahar Jahanikia. Then when it turns Thursday, we present our research to her. We show her our progress, and sometimes we show it to also the entire EEG group, because there's also a BCI team which does a lot of coding. So we can also show the progress to both groups themselves. And then when Thursday's over, we take down meeting notes from everything she's told us, and we write down exactly what we're supposed to work on for the next week. And so far, our current hope is to finish independent component analysis of all the data subjects. And once we finish that, hopefully get through at least over 50 subjects. We're aiming high so that we could attend a conference in like late spring and summer. That was a lot. I'm sorry.
No apologies. That was great. That was a perfect description. It really encompasses that you're doing a lot. You're doing so many different things, and it's cool. It's really great stuff. Good luck with your 50 subjects. You guys got this. You'll make it. You'll make it to the conference.
we're pushing through.
Well, thank you so much for taking the time to sit down with this interview with me. For my final question, I would love to know any advice you'd give to a future researcher looking to join ASDRP.
Advice for future researchers. I would say don't be like at first it might seem overwhelming to have a bunch of these new types of data to look at or this new technology to be adjusted to, because I definitely think of other research projects that I've done, this has definitely been one that's most challenging, but also one that's most rewarding. And to any future researchers out there, like it's going to be difficult, it's going to get hard at times, but that's where your passion goes through. Being in that sort of discomfort zone is only going to push your love of research so much more, and you're going to realize that once this is something that you really like to do, it's going to be so much more worth it at the end. Yeah.
Awesome. Great advice. And so good luck with all of your research and with school and everything else that you're doing. Have a great rest of your night.
Thank you. It was great talking to you.
Great to talk to you.